So we're actually going to go into the lesson now for today. So yes, what we've been doing was just a drill and review of yesterday. So we're going to continue on with the past, right? So right now, we're in a good steady position here. I can make my connection, I can penetrate the frame, but then I try to go for a back step, right? But then we go against a person who's really stubborn and they won't let my foot out. Okay. So here, I can't get out, right? I just have that foot stuck in there, right? So what I want to emphasize is the control of the head on top of the torso, right? This is actually what controls the feeling of pressure, right? So here, he has the frame, I weave in, and then I start a fire pass, right? If I can't extract that foot, sometimes you go against a really strong competitor, and when you do the fire pass, you just can't get this foot in, okay? So what I'm going to do is, keeping this head on top, I'm going to start going belly down now. But as I go belly down, I want to catch this underhook, right? So he's framing. As I come belly down, I just want to catch this underhook. But notice how this knee, I'm going to start putting it into the floor. And just get back up, right? So now you notice we're in kind of like a knee cut position, right? So here, all I want to do is I want to go from having head up, hip down. I want to go head down, hip up, like this. And I'm now in a pin position, right? Once I get in this position, only thing I want to do is escape my heel, right? So once I have here, come up, I just need to get my heel out. Once I get my heel, I can just, right? And I land in a nice upper body pin position, right? So when I land, when I come into here, all I want to do is I want to pike on my head, right? I've got kind of like an upper body, almost like a judo side position, right? I'm going to pike, just post my foot on the inside, I want to get my heel out. And then I'm just come into upper body, right? We're just going to drill this for now, and then we're going to tighten it up a little bit. Okay? Any questions? You want me to do it one more time? One more time? Or no? One more time. Okay. So, here, so I'm in this position, right? Kind of like the reverse heel position, right? He's got a good frame. Here, I grab my grips, right? I'm gonna begin with my fire pass, right? So I'll do my hip weave, head connection, okay? I do my fire pass, just won't let go of that foot. I'm just gonna go belly down. Look down, touch my head to the floor, escape this foot. Okay? Let's try it. So I'm going to 3. 1, 2, 3. I just want to talk about base for a second, right? So like the base of jiu-jitsu is kind of like, the feeling of it is like footwork of boxing. So always being able to move and be mobile in this situation is pretty critical, right? So let me say a little bit, I'm going to go that way. So from the far pass, I don't want to put my knee on the floor, right? I want to have weight here, right? So let's just say when our knees are in one line, we're kind of like even base. Right? When one knee starts getting higher than the other, that means more weight is going to come on this side, right? So we can see this applicable in a lot of situations, right? So for example, it's kind of like a little bit of a tangent, but let's just say we go into like a foot lock, right? If this foot is high and he goes for a foot lock, this knee is high, that means that foot is low, right? When I start bringing this knee above this knee, that means my weight comes more into this side, right? This is where the pressure goes, right? So just like in this position, I want to have more weight onto this side, okay? So when I move, I'm always on my feet, so if Gilbert isn't there, I'm just literally putting my weight from here to here. I'm just literally going side to side, right? The second my knee comes to the floor, I can't move anymore, right? So when I move, I always want to be side to side, right? In my knee cut, same thing, right? So in my knee cut, I come down, if I get up, and then I'm all the way on this side, if I remove Gilbert from the picture, this is not a stable position. Okay? Go back. what I need to be is I need to be in a stable position, right? So I need to be, my head needs to be in between my knees, right? So instead of being like this, I'm gonna be like this, okay? So if I remove Gilbert from the picture, I look like this. This is a much more stable position versus like this, okay? So when I'm doing my move, I'm always on my feet. My knee never touches the floor, right? So I come down, I go for like a far pass, right? And I come back up. When my knee touches the floor, this is when I start coming in for the pass, okay? So just making sure my head stays between my knees is a good concept because I don't want my weight outside of my balance, right? I need to have my weight between my knees, right? So here, far pass, putt, my head is always in between my knees. And then I finish the pass, right? So just work on the base and just make sure every time you come down, you're balanced, right? You're never falling over onto one side, okay? Any questions? Let's try it. 12 on 3, 1, 2, 3. I just want to talk about the chest connection part, right? So we did a lot of the movement. Now we're going to input kind of the idea of the chest connection, right? A lot of times, the chest connection for the knee cut. Sorry, so we come into this position, right? When we work hard to get our chest low, right, I want to connect it to the person, right? Just kind of like how I understand it. I know a lot of people do this knee cut differently. When the head is kind of on this side, the idea is we want to pin kind of this shoulder and this hip, right? So like if the torso is kind of like a rectangle, when I want to solidify a strong pass, I'm working to get a pin, right? So I want to pin the corner, I'm pinning corner, right? So when I come into this position, right, if I'm really driving hard here, this is one way of kind of getting the pin, right? But you'll see that kind of like, sometimes I overextend myself, right? And that makes some people try to kick out this foot, right? For me, I don't like to overextend myself, right? What I'll do is I'll try to solidify a base, right? So when I kind of come up like this, you'll also see like my chest comes off the body a little bit, right? So when I come into this position, I want to maintain and learn to maneuver my body so it feels the same connection with the pin, right? So here, you kind of feel my pressure kind of comes off a little bit, right? I want to make sure my pressure stays on, but I got a pin, right? So instead of putting my head to the same side as the underhook, I'm going to put my head to the opposite side of the underhook, right? So I just want to connect ear to ear, right? So I don't want to be here on the same side as my hand. I want to be ear to ear on the other side. So what I'm causing is I'm causing kind of like an underhook here and a head pin over here, right? So now you'll notice when I pin him to the floor, I cause this to him, right? So this kind of guarantees I get a pin, right? Once I get this pin, now I can start working the bottom. It's going to make it a little bit easier, right? But if his shoulder comes off the floor, a lot of times I can't finish this. There's no pressure and I can't build strength in this kick, right? So when I come down, I want to come down here, right? Ear to ear, and I really want to pressure my head into the floor, right? Here, I got a good base. I can shrink my base a little bit and then start popping this off, right? So in this position, if they buck, there's not really like a base. He can start disconnecting my chest from his body, right? I want to make sure my chest stays here. So I just want to maintain the position, right? I don't need to squeeze really hard. I just need to stay here long enough to get my foot up. That's all I'm trying to do. One more time. When I come into this position, I really want to flatten him out, right? So here, my goal is to come in here, flatten him out with a far pass. If I can't escape the foot, I'm going to turn back around, get the underhook, and I want to continue flattening him out, right? So my head just goes from here to this side, right? And then now I generate a nice pin still, right? Here, I just want to hold him pinned to the floor so I can escape the foot onto this side, right? So now you notice, as I pass, my chest doesn't leave his chest. I keep aligned with him the whole time, just by this. Okay? 12 down 3, 1, 2, 3.